Fawn and Aterrados, you are in your extraction van being driven back to Harlem, back to the Blackburn Hotel after your encounter at the Balance Industries headquarters building. As you are driving, you begin to see in your various social media feeds news clippings and videos and posts about something happening at the UN, some sort of like disturbance at the United Nations protest that was going on, where your colleagues, Rant and Sovereign, you know them to be. Not a lot of details are coming in at the moment, so you guys have a moment to kind of calm yourselves and touch base.
There was probably a long moment of silence in the car, and then Fawn just kind of reaches over and puts her hand on Aterrados' forearm, and she asks, "Why do you compare yourself to them?"
What do you mean? Like, I don't compare myself to anyone. I don't know what you're talking about.
You just did. You just talked about it. How you're supposed to be the bad guy and they're supposed to be the good guys, and how you've tried to change but can't. They're not you.
It's what's
So
necessary, though.
is it?
Yeah. I mean,
Aterrados, what do you want?
I,
Don't
I,
talk to me about what you deserve and what you can and can't have. What do you want?
I want a world free of the stupidity of humanity and ignorance of it.
Is that why you're so destructive?
Yeah. This world isn't going to change unless we change it. So, gotta keep fighting until it does.
Fawn pauses a moment and then she just kind of leans over and puts her head on his shoulder and she says, "There are many ways to change the world. We just need to find the one that best suits us."
I wish I could believe that.
Well, if you can't believe it, then believe in me and I'll help.
All right, I'll give it a shot,
Both of
but
your
don't
phones,
expect too much out of me.
both of your phones start to get hit with alerts as your sort of notifications that you have, like high level notifications, start pinging quite rapidly. And you both begin to see like little clips and pictures. You see Sovereign and Rant on a stage, surrounded by people. You see other clips of them in the background, and you see other people with pictures of Waterlily and Schwarzschild, in the same area. You see a video of Schwarzschild carrying Waterlily up onto the stage with Rant and Sovereign. And there's some movement, and then you see another video of Schwarzschild picking Sovereign up and like carrying her up into the sky. And like, a lot of videos are like trained. You can tell that they're talking up there. They're not like fighting, but they're talking. But no one can really get any kind of audio on there. You see Rant and Waterlily having some sort of like tense confrontation on the stage. And then other sorts of, something about a disturbance, something about, an attack, something about people going unconscious or, having some sort of mental episodes, and a lot of chaotic imagery. Nothing can really be determined what exactly is going on. Starts slamming through your social media feeds.
Jeez.
You can actually visibly see Taunt, or actually probably feel because she's leaning on you at the moment, Fawn tense at watching the video of Cassie and Levon flying. and she just kind of like stares at the video and like rewinds it and watches it again and rewinds it and watches it again, and she just kind of sighs, and then she just turns her phone face down.
What do you think happened?
I don't know. I hope everyone's okay though.
Yeah.
Aterrados, your phone gets another alert, and you see all 4 of them on that stage singing Wonderwall.
The heck? Oh my god. I'll send
Yeah.
over a quick text to them, just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they appear to be busy, so you don't get a response
Yeah.
very soon. But eventually, the extraction van makes its way back to the Blackburn, where you guys are sort of ushered into sort of the more secure areas of the facility. Moving over to Utopia Tower, Waterlily and Schwarzschild, you guys have reached the tower, and when you get there, when you sort of get in sort of the debriefing area that you normally go when you come back from being out, you notice there's a lot of activity going on. A lot of people are doing a lot of things. It's kind of a flurry. And one of Alexander's assistants comes up to you and says, I think there was going to be a debrief, but that has going to have to get either pushed around or rescheduled. There is a lot going on. And as soon as your teammates return from their activity, we're actually going to be getting you out of the city.
Out of the city?
Yes. You've been invited to headquarters.
What now?
Yes.
We were just in an op in the field. We need time to rest and recuperate.
You'll have time on the plane.
Okay.
Right.
But yeah,
Was there a place we can wait then?
sure. Yes. I mean, we can get you up to the helipad, or you can go back to your suite. They should be here momentarily. But like I said, we've got the VTOL ready to go to get you to Chicago.
Lily, you need anything?
I just need a minute. Yeah. I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna go to my room for a minute.
All right, I'll follow you.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can head up to your room. It's empty. Tensor doesn't appear to be there at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, no, she's been holding it together, as best as she can for the transport back. But the minute that, authority figures or anybody that, she feels like she has to put a face on in front of is gone, like she is kind of shaking. And for the first time ever that you've known her, you basically see tears coming down her face, and she just immediately finds a place to sit and kind of curls on herself for a second to really just compose. Okay.
Do you want a hug or something?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Then I'll just sit down and just like wrap you up in a bear hug.
Thank you. I don't know what you saw, but I saw a lot of people being hurt. Or
I didn't see anything really. I mean, I saw what you did. Mostly it was a whole lot of focus and concentration, and then you sort of got all weak kneed and almost like you were going to swoon or something. So, but then everything just kind of stopped. What do you mean you saw people getting hurt?
I don't know if they were fears or memories or I saw things from the perspectives of the people around me, and they were emotionally painful, physically painful. I saw someone choking you, Levon. I was you. Somebody was choking me, us. I have that in my head now.
Um, older guy.
Yeah, my dad. Your dad.
Yeah, that was a memory.
I'm sorry. That was awful.
You're lucky. That was a pretty easy day. So
I-
you did not get by far the worst of it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I have no right to be anywhere in your head. I'm sorry.
No. Lily, this is not your fault.
Virginia.
Virginia, it's not your fault. It's okay. I know that you would never do anything like look inside my head, even if you could do that without my permission. It's okay. Maybe it was the kid, maybe it was backlash. I tried to do something and I got hit with it pretty hard myself. So I don't know, but no, it's okay. Really, I ain't mad at you.
How are you so strong? I don't know how I. You're very strong, Levon, and I don't mean your powers.
Meanwhile, in Harlem, a attendant who you recognize as being working directly for the count basically intercepts you before you guys are able to get up to your room and say, you should come with me. Your friends are in a meeting, and I think you're invited too. Please come with me.
All right, fine.
Oh, okay. I wanted a nap.
I, I believe this is really important. Of course, you can do what you want. You're a Nova, but I think I think you would want to be there for this.
Okay. Fawn frowns. It's very clear that her mood has taken a downswing, but she just kind of nods and follows along.
Okay, so you're led up through the secure areas up into the office areas, where you come to the office of the count. And mere moments before Rant and Sovereign, you were just brought into this room and were introduced to the man sitting in one of the guest chairs. But Fawn and Aterrados, you see Rant, you see Sovereign, you see the count, and you see this very powerfully built, red-haired man who is conversing with your friends. And he turns to the two of you and says, the rest are here. Good, excellent. Please come in. I am, you can call me Divis.
Okay. Mm.
Fawn much has not to be, a joke, but that deer in the headlights look, and then just kind of like steps forward but slightly shuffles behind Aterrados.
We're all super
What's-
honored to meet you. Really. It's kind of like a dream come true sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, it was only a matter of time, I think. You are members of the Terrigen, the Brotherhood of Novas, who are all bandied together to see our one race reach its destiny. Please,
Mhm.
please have a seat. We have much to discuss.
Of course.
All right.
Seat, right, seat,
Yeah,
sitting,
take a sit down.
I'm told that you have all had some very tense encounters this day. Count, can we provide them with anything? Refreshment, food, anything that they need to relieve their tension? And he said, of course, anything. Yeah, young ones, do you need anything that we can provide?
Peace of mind after that shit show. No,
Ah,
you don't have any. It's okay.
I can do what I can. I can do what I can.
In this order, I'd like a cup of tea, a beer, and a nap. But I don't think I'm going to have that last one for a bit. So, cup of tea, beer.
Count puts something into his computer, and in short order, a cup of tea makes its way to the room. Anything else from anyone?
No.
Good, good. We always need to not neglect our physical needs. Even though our capabilities are great, there is still much to be said for maintaining the body.
Yeah.
So he kind of looks over to all of you and say, Rant and Sovereign, I'm particularly interested in your encounter. Please tell me from your perspective, what happened?
Rant.
All right. Well, we were putting on our performance, and two utopian novas decided that they weren't a fan of the fact that I kind of stir people up when I do my music, and then something happened, and a kid had erupted or something, some sort of trauma for sure, and we had to step in and take care of that.
Yep, that's about it.
Interesting. And I'm told this young one had some sort of mental ability.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah.
Interesting. Very rare. Very rare. I'll have to look into that. And Fawn, Aterrados, you seem to have a bit of more of a, what was it, a corporate encounter? Some ne'er-do-well military contractors. What can you tell me?
Fawn glances over at Aterrados.
We tested ourselves against one of the other novas, and came out on top. So that's really it.
Is that really what happened?
What?
Yeah, that's about it.
What the fuck were you guys doing? What?
So we went there in hopes of doing a protest against them because of their ways. They don't have great business practices. Basically, we tried separate ways of getting into the building. It didn't work. And then there was a fight.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And we won. So mission accomplished. Kind of. We did it the safe way. I wanted it to do it my way, and it didn't work out.
You didn't do any like dumb fertilizer bomb plot shit,
No, that's
did
what
you?
I wanted to do. But
Oh my
we did it the
God.
safe way, and in the end, I scarred America Boy's face. So
What?
Wait, Liberty Lads?
yeah.
That's America's
You
face right
did?
there.
I mean, America isn't great. No one should be caring about America.
No, that's true. But like, it's got a handsome face.
And I fucked it up. So next time when he comes after me, he'll know to just leave me alone.
Well, actually, I think because of my healing powers, his face should be fine.
Well, that's sad. Scars are cool.
You guys had fun. We were changing the world. It's good to see you guys are out there beating up pretty boys. Love it. Icons.
We didn't beat. Okay.
And you guys were singing Wonderwall?
That
it
wasn't
was-
my idea.
It was the right choice at the time. It was the right mood that we needed to set so that we didn't have people killing each other. And honestly, I didn't want to get into a fight with the Utopians.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's good. We shouldn't be fighting with them.
Sometimes we should, but it wasn't the right venue.
Yeah. Different time, different place.
You're
I'm
all-
sorry, we're being super fucking rude. My
No.
apologies.
No, by all
what's
means,
this
it's
meeting
good to
for?
it's good to unpack, good to think through your actions so that you can better act in the future.
Yeah.
Learn from what you've done and what others have done, and become stronger, more focused, more capable. Always
Yeah.
good to think through your actions. But interesting. I'll have to look into some of these things myself. Connections, things coming together.
If
Very
you can
interesting.
find the kid in particular, I hate to interrupt, I'm sorry, but we
No,
don't have a
no,
good
no.
way of tracking him.
You're absolutely right. Recent things are more curiosity. I really wanted to meet with all of you regarding what you did in that Connecticut hellhole. Elsewhere in New York, the elevator door to the sort of the landing area opens with that assistant along with Circuit and Liberty Lad. She leads the two of you in to the common area, and she says, as soon as you're ready, we need to get going.
I am riding high. I am ready to go. I have had a great time. Guys, you would not believe what happened. I got to kick my nemesis in the teeth, figuratively. I got a boyfriend out of spite. This is only going to go well.
Circuit.
Yeah?
Could you maybe go at a 6?
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Virginia basically starts kind of scrubbing her eyes with her palms, like does the freshening up and looks like she's ready to sort of shove all of this into a little box somewhere and deal with it later.
We gotta get going.
Awesome. Good job. I mean, I'm not sure about the spite thing, but
we both mutual agreement to do this out of spite. It'll be fine.
okay. Looks over to Liberty Lad. Decent day? Oh, his face is healed. Okay. Decent day?
I'd rather not talk about it. We did what we needed to do. Let's get on the boat or the VTOL, whatever it is. Metaphors.
Hell, I don't know. Change the name. They change the nickname so goddamn often. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
So she leads you. It's not that far up. It's a floor or two up to the helipad, where a VTOL with the symbol of the Aeon Society is emblazed on the side. And she, they talks to the pilot for a moment. The doors open, and you guys are motioned inside.
All right.
Inside, it's kind of what you might expect out of an executive jet or some sort of transportation. There's a lot of well-appointed chairs. There's a mini bar. There's a food service available, and you guys are able to strap in, and the device takes off and starts heading at a good clip towards the west.
All right, what y'all want? I say as I walk over to the mini bar.
Oh. Pop, please.
I'm good. Thank you.
Liberty Lad is just brooding kind of in the corner looking out the window.
So how did everybody else do?
I mean, there was a new nova eruption. And we stopped a riot.
Oh, that's good.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
We had a run-in with a couple of Terrigen.
Yeah, actually, that was more interesting than I expected.
But like Virginia said, we managed to keep everybody calm. didn't get into a big fight, and there was an eruption that was odd, some sort of mental nova, not something I'd ever encountered or let alone heard about.
Huh.
Maybe we can ask about it when we get there. We're going to the right place after all.
Yeah, maybe. But Virginia took a pretty, I think it hit her pretty hard. So
Oh,
that's why I was saying maybe just keep it down to a dull roar, Circuit. I'm sorry.
no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ginny, do you want a hug or anything?
I mean, be excited. You clearly had a lot of fun with what you were working on, so don't worry about that. Plus, I learned that something that I sure would have learned eventually, which is Levon and I can't sing.
I'll come back over with like just 4 sodas.
It's recorded somewhere. You can go see it. Oh, good.
Oh,
Yeah, if you guys want to check
Oh,
your
well,
social
I
media,
have to.
yeah, if you're going to check your social media feeds, you do see plenty of clips from various phones and other recording devices of Waterlily and Schwarzschild having their various runs in with Rant and Sovereign, which seem to be tense at first, but then they're singing Wonderwall. It's hard to pin down a narrative.
Wonderwall?
Yes. I'm amazed that I knew the words, but I suppose generationally, that is still sticking around.
I'm convinced that song's just actually 1,000 years old, and we just forgot about it until the late 90s. I don't know. And as for y'all, look, Tony, I know you said you didn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to read a mission debrief. So I'd rather hear it from you if you've got the wherewithal to try and do your best to summarize. But
Yeah.
I'd like to know.
You can't fight the future. Do you remember that? I can't stop thinking about it. Sometimes I wonder if the future involves us. What if it's a future that doesn't involve us?
We are sort of Homo sapiens nova is kind of a indicator. I reckon we are the future. Yeah.
No, I meant this team. I've had a tussle, let's say, with one of the legacy, the one with the long hair.
Yeah.
He caused someone to bleed out, and then his hair attacked me. I could have really hurt him, but I didn't. But he really hurt me. It's just sobering to know that I'm vulnerable.
But you look okay. I don't see anything.
Yeah, the little deer girl helped.
Fawn was there?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so now, I mean, we knew Terrigen was willing to move to violence at times. What happened? I'm sorry.
He was causing trouble. I tried to stop him. He hurt me.
Okay.
Seemed like they were trying to get inside.
Yeah, that's true. They were trying to get inside the event.
Why do you think that the future wouldn't involve you?
Because sometimes I think like that.
Okay. I get that. I mean, I I didn't plan on superheroing. It's just what happened after I erupted. You're good at this, Anthony. People are obsessed with you.
They look up
People
to
are
you.
obsessed. People are obsessed with fads. I hope to be more than a fad, but if I can't hold my ground against one idiot who needs a haircut, then what good am I?
Well, it's just something to be more aware of and to work on. I mean, I've gotten pretty fucked up before, and it sucks, but I mean, you just try to compensate for it, fix it so it's less likely to happen again.
Plus,
Did you get anything good from the thing?
Yes, I did.
Good. I didn't suffer for nothing.
Oh, hell no.
Tony, do you remember our very first mission?
I do. That was the one I was referencing when I said you can't fight the future. Do we know for
Right.
sure who even said that? We are thinking it was one of the Terrigen, but
Well, I mean, you remember how I got my bell rung by a giant robot?
Yeah, and there was no way I was going to catch that drone. Like, you said it and you were right.
So, like, yeah, and this ain't bragging, I'm the toughest person on this team. Baseline could empty a clip into me and I'd probably be okay. But that don't mean that I'm invincible.
I'm not saying we have to be invincible. I'm just saying there are things I'm going to work on if you want to know why I'm so sullen.
Well, there you go.
But now that I know that Circuit was able to grab what we were looking for, I'm a little less sullen.
Good for you then.
Yeah. Nope, I got all kinds of good stuff, managed to kick Synapse out of the good stuff, and yeah.
Did you find out what the blue cylinder was? Like, what did they want in the first place from that site?
I don't know what the blue cylinder was, but I do have the data on the facility and the information that looks like Synapse was trying to get to. And I was able to, with actually using the system, get him kicked out of it.
Good job.
How long do you think that'll last?
A good bit. He carelessly tripped the security setting. By him, I mean me. So they'll probably upgrade it, if not keep an eye on it for a good while. Especially if the other two were there to cause a distraction on the outside.
And now we're all getting called into headquarters.
Yeah, y'all know what this is about?
Nope.
About that time, you get the pilot comes over, and it says, "Please strap in. We're about to do a high burn maneuver to get into low orbit."
Oh, crap.
Repeat.
Okay. And Virginia straps in.
Yeah. The whole maneuver takes maybe about 15 minutes, but you feel the oppressive acceleration, the slight lessening of gravity, and then you feel yourself being drawn back down. As a short jump from New York to Chicago gets taken place. You see the world start to come up below you, the ever expanding city of Chicago, and eventually the VTOL lands in the campus of the Aeon Society headquarters. It's about on par with your Googles and Apple sized campuses. Multiple buildings, big green space. The VTOL itself lands near what looks like to be an anachronism. In the middle of high tech kind of style buildings, there's a lone old style Chicago brownstone that seems to be sort of cordoned off and protected from any sort of there's high walls surrounding it, and it seems to be sort of set apart from everywhere else. You land. The pilot comes out and bids you all, and you are led up to the door of the brownstone. Back in the Blackburn, and I wanted to thank each and every one of you. Thank you for bringing it up, Rant. The mind can wander, but yes, no, he is within our care, Jeremiah and I have taken him under our wing. There's a lot of damage there, and it behooves us to do what we can to undo it. But all four of you did the One Race a true service, and I wanted to thank each of you.
It was nice
Our
to
pleasure.
do something nice.
Indeed, indeed. This archangel group troubles me. The count actually speaks up just briefly. Church of Michael Archangel. He says, yes, your fathers wouldn't want to smirch that name. Anyway, I
Fawn
figured.
lets out a really soft sigh and just looks a bit forlorn and just kind of stares downwards.
Young Fawn, I understand from what I hear that was something of a personal mission for you as well.
Yes, I grew up in that church. Not that one in particular, but
Humanity always finds a way to concentrate the most bigoted and ignorant, to lash out at what it does not understand. I am so
Yeah.
very glad that, like that young man, you were able to break free of those clutches. Who knows what they would have done to you? I'm no stranger to that kind of ignorance.
the funny part is that they weren't the ones that hurt me. It was the hunters.
A different breed of ignorance, then.
She just
Still.
kind of idly places her hand kind of on her side where actually kind of like up on her chest near her throat where she was shot. I don't mean to take up any time. I'm okay.
Oh,
Pain is a
Fawn.
teacher, but its lessons can have its own toll. Embrace your joy. No, as I was saying, connections, things coming together. Sovereign,
Yes.
I've been hearing the most interesting things from you about the Count.
I hope only good things.
Intriguing things.
Oh.
It's my understanding that you may not be entirely aware of the effect you have on reality.
In regards to like, I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Right. I was wondering if I could share something with you. When a Nova doesn't understand themselves, understand what their powers do, it is an unfortunate thing that needs redressing. I can hear it, the sound of the universe. With the right ears, you can hear the hum of the background radiation, of the cosmic dance of the spheres, and you know what I hear of it when it comes to you.
What?
It's singing a love song, young sovereign. The universe loves you.
Oh. I've always kind of felt that. I've always felt that I was a very fortunate person, always and in all things.
He stands up and comes over to you and offers you his hand. I'd like to show you what I see.
Okay. All right. Sure.
He very gently grasps your hand and then puts a thumb right in the middle of your forehead, and you feel like a circuit is made between those 2 points of contact. and you hear what can only be described as music. It's not done by any human instrument or anything, but you hear this sort of resonant harmony. And in that music, you gain explicit understanding of how your powers work.
Ooh. That is to Cassiopeia. She's always been vaguely aware of something. She's always just sort of felt like she's always in the right place at the right time. And sometimes can feel disorientated about where she is. And she's always she's like known those two things connected, but like now as she sees the whole thing, it is like her heart is just skipping beats at it, at the potential of it.
And he sort of gently sort of guides you back into your chair, and he says, I wanted to make sure before you developed more that you knew exactly what it was you were doing.
This whole time, just without...
Yes. You are given a great gift by the happenstance of your eruption. Now, and he turns to the rest of you. All of you have been given a great gift by your powers, by your connection to the cosmos. And I have a recommendation. My recommendation to all of you, but in particular you, Sovereign, given the nature of what you now know, is to both never assume that you are worthy of the gift and always strive for worthiness. Though we are masters of the forces of reality, humility is not a wasted virtue.
I understand.
Good. Meanwhile, at Aeon HQ, someone opens the door. It's an older gentleman. And he says, yes, you are the Teen Tomorrow class of New York, yes?
Mhm.
Please, come in. Welcome to headquarters.
Thank you, sir.
So he leads you in. You're brought into sort of like a foyer, a welcome area. There's rooms off to the side. As you walk down the hallways, you see almost on every surface or wall or end table is some sort of memento of ages past. A lot of strange looking old technology, a lot of faded photos that have been kept up very well. Not a lot of faces that you recognize, but certainly this place bears a stamp of time. Like everything is perfectly kept in keeping with, an earlier era. There are, like, you see, like there's this strange looking helmet that's sort of put up on a pedestal with what might be like a rocket pack. There's like this, gun that has a lot of tubes and fins on it. There is as you are sort of approaching sort of this large staircase, you see a large portrait that has a lot of venerable looking men and women in rough but still elegant and stylish clothing. And it is emblazoned with a very old style symbol of the Aeon Society. Anyone like to roll culture for me?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's going to be
Yes.
a 2-point complication on this. Just, because there's this is a very old picture that may or may not ring some bells.
Attribute?
What arena would you like to use? Your force, finesse, or resilience?
I have to remember which ones were. I guess in this case, I'd like to use force. 'Cause
Okay.
I'd like to use my intelligence.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That'll
And
work.
I've got 2 in mega int, so I think that'll even out the complication.
Okay.
6 dice. Yeah, no.
fail.
Waterlily's had her bell rung a little too hard. She's not on this one.
Yeah, I've only got one success myself.
Okay.
A D10. Ooh, yes, keep exploding. I like that. Okay, that's 2.
2 successes. Okay. And with your intellect scale, that will allow you to get at least 4 more successes from scale. So yeah, you look at this picture and your eye is drawn to a figure in the back. They're tall, very sort of well muscularly built, dark sunglasses, but something about their features are very familiar to you. You've seen this man before. And
Hmm.
you can't say for certain it might be a relation, but you swear if that's not Divis Maul, it's someone related to him.
Can I get a quick shot of the photo?
Sure.
Yes. And then just to like make it look like I'm fangirling, I'll take a few shots of a few other things, especially if they look steampunky.
There are plenty of steampunky stuff all
Okay.
around.
I could totally say that I'm doing this just for him. So that photo's weird. Does anybody else think the guy in the sunglasses looks familiar?
It doesn't ring a bell to any of you.
No, I'm afraid not.
Like kind of looks like Divis Maul. Like maybe it's his grandson or
Grandfather.
yeah.
Connected up to Aeon?
I mean, it'd have to be his granddad or something. When was this picture taken?
You'd guess around sometime in the 30s.
Yeah, there's no way that he.
Yeah. Okay. Well, interesting. Good eyes.
You begin to hear a sort of mechanical sounding whirring as a platform starts to descend around the edge of the stairs. And you do a double take when you see a large, very silver, clearly very old gorilla in a wheelchair, being led by a much younger looking gorilla who is behind the wheelchair as it just sort of whirs its way down, wearing glasses and a sports jacket.
She'll has a look of shock and try and like fix her face and be more neutral real fast.
And they just sort of pass you, and if you don't introduce make a move to talk to them, they move on their way.
Are y'all seeing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they in the photo?
No, they're not in the photo.
Okay. What?
I mean, if you want to make an introduction, have fun. I feel like we go up like tourists.
I'm just gonna wait.
Gonna try to look them up. Or a wiki page.
You start to look that up, and then another figure comes down the stairs. This looks like a middle-aged woman, long red hair, very smart business suit. She has a prominent lapel pin of the Aeon Society on her lapel, and she says, "Team Tomorrow, please come to my office."
Is this Abigail Larson?
It is not.
Oh, okay. And not Thea Yanis?
Mm-mm.
All right.
She says, please, this way. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance. And she leads you to what appears to be a very, very lavish, but still very elegant office that seems to be sort of attached to what probably is the master bedroom when this place still was a house. And she invites you into. There's a large desk. There's a couple of chairs. She sits down in one of them and says, please take a seat. My name is Margaret Mercer. I'm the chairwoman of the Aeon Society. Meanwhile, in Harlem, I am to understand the rest of you seem to have a bit more of a grasp, but do you have any questions about your powers? Anything that I might be able to help you understand better?
Nope, just got to become more powerful.
For what purpose?
Correct the imperfections of this world.
A vague but noble sentiment.
I mean, look at America, right? We have non-novas ruling it, people with half the intelligence of what we could provide. If we had a nova with the intelligence to write the directions of these countries, no one would have to starve and there would be no war.
No doubt you would be right.
So
No
we have
doubt
to make it
that
happen.
we could fix all of their problems. We could fill every belly. We could right every mind. We could do all sorts of things. I mean, that's what Utopia wants us to be doing. I don't know if that's the best use of our time, though.
I think it might be.
I think you're right, Aterrados. I would love to see peace.
Me too. Eventually.
Rant, any thoughts on this matter?
I apologize to the high-minded values of my friends. I'm only thinking selfishly at the moment and thinking, I love what I do. I love what I sing, and I grab people's attention. But what I don't love is not being able to walk out into the street and knowing if someone actually thinks that I'm worth a shit, or if it's just quantum or whatever making them think that.
I think you're awesome.
Is this because of what Waterlily said?
It's true though. Like, I can't sing without people getting all wrapped up in what's happening, in the emotion that I'm trying to resonate. And you know, sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's just a lot.
Don't let her make you feel bad about that. She's got her own baggage with her power. Don't let that rub off onto you. If
Like
she's
I
got
told her.
issues, if she's got issues with the consent of her power or whatever, you don't have to let that apply to you.
Yeah, but one, Fawn, I heard what you said and I appreciate it. Two, I can't turn it off. And sometimes you just want to know that the lad standing in front of you actually wants to be there and isn't just there because you've wrapped some cord around his brain and made him think he does.
You can't turn it off.
No.
He closes his eyes and then opens them, and they are sort of wreathed in sort of a greenish reddish glow. And he looks at you for about 10 seconds. Yes, you can.
What?
Hear that?
I see no imbalance in your energies. I see nothing that would prevent you from controlling that. Letting it come, letting it go. I don't mean this derisively. I think it might be a mundane psychological problem.
Well, fine. That's actually reassuring slightly. If it's in, no, that's still not much better. But
It means that it's fully within your capacity to overcome. You are Nova. Your powers are you, and you are your powers. There's no distinction between someone liking you for your powers and someone liking you for the shell of what you were before you awoken to them. It's all you.
Mm.
And if you desire more control, there are techniques, there are exercises, there's therapy, for lack of a better term. We provide such things to all Novas. But never, I would not bother with worrying too much about what's my power, what's me. It's all you. And it's all glorious.
yeah, you're right.
I do have a question, and maybe it's not an appropriate question. I don't know. Why me?
That's a open-ended question. Why you what?
Why did I erupt? Why does it happen? Out of all the people that I've seen, I don't understand why I was chosen.
There's a long answer and a short one. All of you would probably benefit from the long answer. But as to the short one, as to why you specifically, it is a matter of both genetics and circumstances. The potential was born in you, and you responded to the energies of the world. The right key went in the right lock and turned.
I just feel so different from everyone else.
He turns that perception on again, and you feel him attending to you.
You don't need to see that.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. It is simply the way things happened. And you are in the best place to come to terms with that. Through Terrace, through Chrysalis, you can seize and shape. If you find you do not like the way the universe has provided for you, you can take it and shape it to be your own.
Are you taught? Are you talking about the things that just happen around me that I can't control?
Primarily, yes. That is the most troubling aspect I see, the thing that I would recommend working on. But he sort of indicates your antlers, your skin, all of this is Nova Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
We've been trying to tell her that for ages.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm in a weird place right now.
Then you should take your time. There are many teachers who would gladly help you find your place and find the way to best shape your own form in the quantum universe.
Sometimes I feel like I should just go back to the mountains.
No.
For what purpose?
I don't know. I don't know what my purpose is. I thought I knew, and now it's all changed.
Well, I think that the four of you, being who you are, being where you are, brought together with the assistance of those like the Count, can do a great deal of good. Back in Chicago.
Thank you for the invitation.
Most certainly, most certainly. It was the right time for it. It wasn't perhaps anticipated to be today, but a lot of things lined up, and we felt it was a good idea to sort of bring you into the heart of things for a little bit. Can we get you any refreshments? Anything to bolster you from your trip?
Water, please.
Certainly, certainly. In a few moments, the old man who greeted you comes in with a silver tray filled with the pitcher and glasses, and they each fill up a water glass for you.
Thank you.
He says, "So, like I said, we've been planning or foreseeing the possibility that it would be a good idea to bring you in for some time now, but recent events triggered a few things. All of you have recently been embroiled in some fairly big stuff, and rather than have you be buffeted about by Utopia's bureaucracy and all of that, I made the call that it was a good idea to bring you guys here and show a little trust and goodwill. I'm here to answer any questions you have, clear up any uh, problems that you're having. We don't want to have you out in the cold, so to speak, longer than is prudent or necessary. And we felt that you might be showing some strain, having done some field operations and run into some things that you might not have been prepared for. So I'm an open book.
Beg your pardon, ma'am, but isn't that a little below your pay grade?
What do you mean?
House Combo Museum aside, you're the chairwoman of the Eon Society. I fail to see how we even register in terms of important stuff for you to have to deal with.
Not only are you Novas, you're young Novas. You are literally the future of the extraordinary things that are in store for the human race.
Bentley pokes Liberty Lad.
How can you be anything but one of my top priorities?
That makes sense. Thank you. I'm sure you're a very busy woman.
That I am. We also needed to get you out of New York. Too many things coming together, at least for the rest of the day.
What do you mean by that? You're the second person that said we had to get out of the city.
Was it what happened at the UN?
No, not exactly. It involved, yes, but not exactly. Now, I said I would be an open book, but I will offer a word of caution. You may have a question, and I will answer that question if you want it answered. But if I feel that it might be a dangerous question, I will offer that warning. And I will offer that warning in this case.
I see. Well, how about everybody else go on with your questions and I'll ruminate on whether or not I want to get mine answered.
Certainly.
Scott, does Thea Yanis work for the Aeon Society, or was she for Balance Industries?
She was at Balance Industries.
I would say I have a question more about the past.
Sure
Can
thing.
you tell me anything about the Flag Bearers Initiative?
She says, let me see if I have any notes on that. And she pulls up a little tablet and taps away on that. Yeah, failed U.S. military attempt to come up with a Nova team, I believe. We kept an eye on it, but it didn't seem to go anywhere. I believe they're trying something similar with another, like a PMC or something along those lines. It's a developing situation as far as I know. Yes, but yes, that's what my notes are showing.
What's Aeon's relationship with Balance Industries? There's occasional crossover, is there not?
They work more with Utopia than Aeon. Uh, Aeon doesn't really like to get involved directly or indirectly with military operations. It's not our style.
Oh well. And then Liberty Lad will look at her and say, "You can't fight the future." To see if it gets like a reaction out of her.
She says, "Why'd you say that?"
I don't know, just something I've heard.
I've heard
Why
that
would?
too.
Where'd you hear it from?
Reports. Probable Terrigen, something involving the Terrigen and their hacker contingents.
Okay, he'll look at Liberty Lad will look at Circuit then and nod. Same.
Something to keep an eye on, I suppose.
Well, especially if maybe a current Terrigen member used to have a ancestor that was part of the Aeon Society.
She blinks a few times.
The
Not unheard of.
The gentleman with the sunglasses in the picture in the waiting room looks an awful lot like Divismal.
That's just not any Terrigen member now, is it?
Nope.
I said I'd be an open book, and that's not. It's a secret, but it's not a one that is too terribly concealed if you know where to look. So if you want me to get into that, I most certainly will. Are you sure
Kind
you
of
want to know?
looks at the others, see if anybody else wants to
I'm-
say anything before.
I have my own things to ask, but if that's what you want to know, Nisha, go for it.
You could go first.
Okay. The situation in Libya. There was something going on with the child soldiers. The children there, not the ones that were captive, but the ones that were armed. There seemed to be strange abilities or effects on them. I know it's nobody's talked to us about it afterward, and I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere. But you all know that, right? What's going on?
She says, let me reorient myself with that matter. She puts her tablet, taps a few things. It's like, yes, it looks like Ogun was doing experiments with experimental drugs and some sort of application of power. He was enhancing them.
So he was transforming baseline humans into something else through quantum?
Yes. It's a rare ability, and it has a lot of very troubling implications. So it was a very good thing that that situation was resolved and Ogun is in custody.
Okay, so you have him.
Yes,
Because that is abhorrent.
we most certainly agree.
What are you going to do with him?
Well, we're working with the UN regarding that. He is, of course, a wanted figure on many accounts and many governments. Most likely will arrange for permanent custody. I believe the slang term is Guantanamo. It is real. We do have it, and in extreme cases, we do contain dangerous novas there.
Speaking of, thank you for that. On a similar, if completely different note, today there was a lot going on at the at the demonstrations about the the custody of Sluice, the Nova that's been detained for quite a while now.
Yes, the turret.
Yes, what's is there a plan with that? Like it seems to have just they seem to have just vanished at this point. Into the system, I guess.
There's a lot going on with that. There's a lot going on with the United States government regarding that. There's jurisdiction and custody issues that we're working with. And unfortunately, while I do want to be as open as possible with you all, there's also degrees of confidentiality and I will suffice to say, I will say that Sluice is being held humanely and not entirely against his will.
I would actually, Scott, like to check on the validity of that statement, or at
Okay,
least
if you want
her
to give me
take
an
on it.
empathy roll.
Yes, please. All right. And run empathy cunning. Be okay?
Sure.
All right. And reroll that. 4 successes.
You don't sense any sort of deception from her, but she has a very strong poker face in regards to her when she's speaking about that. You get sort of the sensation of someone who is doing a lot of legal calculus in the back of their heads. And is like dancing, trying to dance around as much as they can, like legal obligations and what they can and can't say regarding like confidentiality and privacy situations.
Okay. Because I very much agree when you say that the idea of the future and our involvement in it, but that equally involves, other young novas that feel for a cause. I don't entirely think that I don't like their approach, but the protesters from the Tarot today weren't wrong about that issue, I don't think.
They aren't. If there weren't at least a half dozen other complications on that situations, if it were just as simple and cut and dry as most of the public and certainly the Terrigen think it is to be, then I would be in full agreement in that he should be released. Civil disobedience alone is not warranted enough for the level of detention that he has been subject to.
I appreciate it. I've been hogging the floor. I'm sorry. I'm sure everybody else has questions.
Back in the Blackburn, there's a reason why those of us who can see the pathway, see where the Nova race is meant to go, we're not meant to stay here. There is a universe out there waiting for us to grasp. And there's a reason why I haven't left.
Yeah.
It's because there are so many of us still sleeping amongst the baselines, waiting for their opportunity to wake up, to blossom and grow. And many of them will be young. Like you, younger. And I see great value in the 4 of you being a sign for those young ones. To not just see the glamour of being a well-dressed slave over in Utopia's care, but being true Novas, being free Novas. I see that as a great purpose. I would not impose that purpose on you. but I am glad that you are doing it. I think it needs to be done for all of my power, for all of my influence. I cannot truly reach the children the way you can.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You want us to
What?
be apostles to your prophet?
Wait, what?
Hell yeah.
No. I don't need them to follow me.
No,
I
Just
don't need-
themselves.
You're right. I'm not saying that you're putting yourself up as a godhead like some fools out there on the Alpnet do, but you're showing us that there's a greaterness for all of us.
Yes. And I think that if you're looking for a purpose, if you're looking for a cause, while you're still young, being the beacon to which those who haven't yet reached what the baselines consider adulthood, because there are differences, a threshold of experience, a threshold of maturity, even amongst novas, it's appreciable.
Yeah.
I believe that you can do a great amount of good. Because our kind has a great destiny. Our kind is meant for the stars, is meant for what is out there waiting for us. And if we waste our time being the problem solvers, being the heroes and the villains of their media shows, and we're never going to get there. We're all just going to be bogged down by what they want. And it does us a disservice, and it does them a disservice too.
Yeah.
He turns to Aterrados. You want to fix everything. You want to see all the wars ended, all the injustices righted. But if we do it for them, it's never going to stick. It's never going to stick.
I don't
We
know.
blaze a trail.
I don't think the people who die and starve really care how it happens as long as it happens.
That is a transitory thing. If we blaze a trail, then they have something to follow. And if they're worthy, if they're fit, they'll follow in their own way. But if we're holding their hands, then they'll never grow.
Yeah, but I sense a dissonance, and I don't mean to call you out on it, but here is it. We're supposed to act as guides and shepherds, right? For the youth, the Nova youth. But how do we know? How do we know who is going to be, who's going to erupt, and who's just a baseline? You know, we have to be a bit of both, right? To actually have it stick.
For the time being, you're absolutely right. As I said, there's a reason I haven't left. We have to cultivate this garden for a bit more. A few decades, by my reckoning. And then we'll be ready.
We can't wait.
Be interesting.
It will be. Any other questions? Any other issues? Any other dissidents? I do
No.
appreciate a good opposing opinion.
I do want to thank you. I mean, you know, because I always say I'm in the right place at the right time. In the car ride over here, I was actually gonna tell the count that I was gonna quit. But I'm glad that you were here when I got out of the car. to change my mind. You were supposed to be here, and I want to thank you.
I don't think the universe would have treated me kindly if I let you go astray.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
He looks up at the clock and says, I don't have much time left. But there was something that piqued my interest in your discussions. You mentioned the utopians that you've been running into. Am I right in thinking that these are the he visibly rolls his eyes, this team tomorrow?
Yeah.
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 They're really quite nice.
I'm sure they
Bunch.
are. I'm actually very worried about them.
Why?
Because they're slaves. They've been convinced that their power and their destiny is tied up in solving every little problem, in maintaining a status quo that has been corrupt and abusive to baselines and novas alike for many centuries now.
Yeah.
And I would ask a favor of you all, actually. The team tomorrow, Novas. I have an opportunity from time to time to have a one-on-one when the timing is right, but I don't think their minders will allow them in any situation where I or any of my associates can really get a proper conversation. I doubt they'd let them stray that far. So I will ask the four of you, if you have an opportunity, I would like to extend through you an invitation to them. I'd like to speak with them.
I can imagine some of them might be receptive to what you have to say. Not all, but some.
I don't know if they'll like me chatting with them, so that might be something for others to do.
You never know when an opportunity will strike.
Yeah. Schwarzschild owes me a date on Thursday, so
A date?
What?
well, a flight,
Oh,
not
yeah.
not a date per se, but
Wait, I also have a date with him on Friday, wasn't it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, not like a date, but like he was going to take.
It's
me
a date
flying.
date.
You
No,
don't
it's a
need
date
to
date.
explain. I don't want to know.
All right. Sorry.
Maul and the Count are just kind of like looking at each other with older, wiser eyes. He says, well then, I think that my time amongst you is up for the time being. And I'm sure you all have a lot to unpack away from the prying eyes of your elders.
Uh-huh.
So it was a pleasure meeting and speaking with all of you. I'm sure we'll meet again.
Mm-hmm. I look forward to it.
As do I. As do I. Keep up the good work.
Right.
And don't think us who have seen a few more decades to be that onerous. We have much to offer if you need. Anyway, he stands, he nods to the Count, and he goes and he offers his hand to each and every one of you, giving you a firm but firm handshake. Do well.
Yeah, of course. Always.
Yeah.
And he snaps his fingers, and a line of fire drips down from the ceiling, causing a rent in space and time. And he steps through, and it closes up after him. Meanwhile, at Aeon HQ,
I still want to know the answer to that question. What is happening in New York that we need to not be there for?
well, very well. Simply put, it's not exclusively that you shouldn't be there. It's a combination of the fact that it was prudent to bring you here for other reasons and less than ideal. There was a possibility that would be less than ideal. The crux of which is that Divis Mall was a few miles away from you at the current moment. We take it very seriously when he shows his hand.
Oh,
Uh, I, wow.
Do you know what his target is?
Current surveillance doesn't indicate that he has a target per se, but he was out in the open, and we take that seriously. He doesn't seem to be doing much of anything. And I think he's probably, I think she pulled up her tablet and says, he's either gone silent or he's left the city at this time.
If I could ask a follow-up question,
By all means.
what sort of dialogue have y'all, either Eon or Utopia, tried to open up with the Terrans? Is there an attempt at diplomacy, or is it just
Of
gonna
course,
have
there's
to
an
get?
attempt with diplomacy. I meet with Count Raziz once a year or so. There's always attempts at diplomacy, but you have to understand there are certain philosophical lines in the sand that are drawn around both of our organizations, and they are very far apart. Aeon will never turn down an opportunity to resolve a situation peacefully, but many believe, for a various number of reasons, that the Terrigen and their beliefs and their propensity to draw unstable individuals to them is going to result in conflict of an escalating nature. So we will handle it diplomatically as best we can, but we also are prepared to defend baseline humanity from those who would oppress or destroy it.
Thank you.
Anything else? I don't have all the time in the world, but I do want to make sure you are heard and your questions are answered to the best of my ability.
so circling back to the photo, what is Divis Mall's connection with Aeon or his family?
She takes a deep breath and says, okay. As I said, if you've considered and wish to know, he was a founding member.
What?
Yes, he was known as Michael Donegal, or Dr. Primoris, when amongst the more flamboyant members of our society. But around the time of World War II, there was a falling out, and he left our number.
Oh, what? I don't understand.
What do you know about Divis Mall that makes you think that he's not what I say?
He'd have to be so old. Nova's erupting didn't start happening. He would have been over a century old.
Yes, he's very powerful. He began very powerful. He was one of the first.
What?
We didn't know the first was that old.
When did he erupt?
She goes to her desk and sort of opens up a file and pulls out a very, like, it's a newspaper that's been clearly like encased and like put in a protective covering of some sort. And she puts it on the table in front of you. And it's Hammersmith Estates explodes in terrible accident. And it's, I forget the exact date, but sometime in the early 20s.
July 21st, 1922.
There you go.
He,
That's when it all started.
he's
Oh.
been a Nova since 1922.
Yes. He was the first and only for a good long time. He was at the heart of the explosion, or so I'm told. Along with our founder, my grandfather.
Holy shit.
So when we think that Nova, like the eruptions started happening, that was just when it started happening en masse?
Yes, we're not entirely certain why, but there was some sort of we think something, either a sort of a backlash or some agent set up something that contained the energies of the Hammersmith explosion that stopped more drastic expressions of the aftermath from happening for a good long time. And we have our suspicions as to what happened, but something happened to break that countervailing energy around the time the Galatea exploded.
Hmm.
So everything we place on the idea of the Galatea may be in error.
Almost certainly. We believe the Galatea exploded because of an eruption.
Wow. Well, thank you for the truth. Why don't more people know this?
Because we don't advertise. Aeon believes in that Aeon believes that most secrets are not worth keeping, that the truth should come out. But there are some secrets that don't need to be spread around. There's so much going on with the world, so much going on about novas and the legacy of the Aeon Society that the board of directors believes that we shouldn't tell everything to everyone regarding it. It would complicate the work that we're trying to do, which is helping novas navigate the world and trying to find a way to harness your abilities to the betterment of yourselves and all of humanity. Certainly, if it was widely known that one of our founding members was the greatest threat to that agenda, it would get in the way. Now, I am not going to tell you to keep your mouth shut or keep the secret. That's not how we do things, but I'm going to ask you to consider the trust that we have placed in you in answering these questions. And they're good questions, by the way. I wasn't expecting you to ask those specific questions, but we have our reasons for not going on the nightly news and laying out the history of our organization and how everything ties together. So we leave it to your discretion, but we ask you to have discretion.
I always got the impression that, and I know that it's actually part of the role, is to be seen, to be out there, to be on OpNet. And that's what we were for months, but things, like you said, are heating up. I'm actually glad that we're doing more, but what are we, at least in your eyes, I know we're going to decide for ourselves, but in your eyes, what are we meant to be, this team?
You are meant to be, at least what we would hope you be, are a beacon to any young person who erupts, who wants to live up to their better selves, who wants to use their powers for good and not devolve into very dangerous selfishness. We want people of good character who share not only the experience of being a Nova, but the experience of youth, to light the way to utopia and what we can offer them in the world.
And Waterlily actually looks over at Liberty Lad to see how he's responding to any of this.
It's pretty stoic right now.
So the impression I always got is that Aeon Society is obviously quite old, and based off my previous assumption that the Galatea is what sparked Novas, which sparked the founding of Utopia, and they are just your more public face. What has the Aeon Society's mission been? Has it always been the same? I feel like there's been there must have been a big schism that caused him to leave and start his own.
The Aeon Society's mission has been pretty set in stone for a long time. The betterment of humanity, the unity of humanity, and a hope for a brighter future. From what I am told, the crux of the argument was that Mr. Donegal felt that humanity's future lied exclusively in the destiny of those who can wield quantum abilities. That the rest of us can follow along if we are fit to do so, but that it was no longer his concern whether we did or not. And the rest of the society felt that was a very dangerous tack to take.
I'm inclined to agree.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, in Harlem,
Uh,
That's cool.
Wow.
that's
All right.
so dope.
We just got to talk to Dipswell. We just got to.
Oh my god, I'm sweating. Do you feel my hands? Feel my hands.
Oh,
Sweaty?
wow.
This
Are
is
we
the person. Let's chill out.
No.
Look, I'm the chillest person out there, but still, that was fucking cool.
Are we dismissed?
Count says, I do not hold you here.
Fawn gets up and leaves.
Fun. What? Aterrados will get up and follow.
Jeez. I guess their outing didn't go well. I guess ours didn't either, huh, Rant?
Not really, no.
No. Well, I'm over it. That's in the past and I'm a new me. So I have purged the past 12 hours from my memory completely.
You know, it's okay to have things happen and actually like look at them critically and incorporate them into your personality and not just dismiss them.
Yeah, but like that's very difficult, and it's much easier for me to just excise large chunks of things from my mind and just never think about them again. Have you tried it? It's easy.
I think that's how I end up with, you know, assuming my powers don't shut off when obviously I guess they do. And I've just got some sort of, you know, regular human mental block.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I'd suggest a therapist, but mine also recently fled the country, so I don't have one to recommend to you. He was good.
Well, that's the
The count
average
says,
kind of story.
I do actually have a meeting.
All right, I'm sorry. Bye. Sorry.
Yeah. So Fawn, where did you go to?
Fawn's going up to her garden.
Okay, and I'll try to see you following her.
Yeah.
She probably hears you coming behind her, but she doesn't really acknowledge it until we get to the rooftop, and she looks back at him and she goes, "What is it?"
I don't know. You like stormed off. Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
Why not?
Because I thought I was special, and apparently I'm not special.
Why?
And
Because
it
some
hurts.
guy said you're not special?
More like showed.
He's just a guy.
But he was my only friend. I didn't have anyone else to talk to. We talked all the time online before things happened, and they always were infrequent, but it was always there. It was always true communication. It was the only person that I connected with. And clearly I misinterpreted things, and it hurts.
I'm sorry. I'm here if you just want to meditate or do some gardening if you want company. Or I can leave.
I want a hug. Can I have a hug?
Yeah, I can give you a hug. And he'll hug her.
She kind of buries her face in your chest, and after a moment you realize that she's crying.
Oh, do you want a tissue?
No, I should be okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're just gonna make me cry, and then we're both gonna be crying. And it's
Am I making you I'm sorry.
you're not
I
making
didn't mean
me
to make you sad.
No, it's not sad. It's just emotions bubbling up that I've probably just pushed deep down. It's probably a healthy thing. It's a healthy thing to cry. Fools don't cry.
Then you should come cry with me. She holds
Okay.
out her hands.
He'll tentatively take it.
She'll lead him into the greenhouse and kind of like show him to like the beanbag area where there's like a mattress and bean bags on the floor. It is very clear that Fawn oftentimes sleeps up here. And she basically says, emotions are good things. If you don't have them, then what's the point? You just become, well, unfeeling and cold. It's okay to experience them. It's what makes us better persons. The ones that are truly the ones that you should be scared of are the ones that don't feel anymore. And the fact that you can say that you realize it and that it's probably a good thing means you still have them. You should embrace them. They remind us for why we do the things we do.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I just don't know, just don't want to get hurt. And yeah,
Aterrados.
Yeah. I'm not very good at articulating my feelings. I'm sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about. I just don't give up on yourself. You are more than what you present to everyone. You are more than your past. Your past is that. It shouldn't define you. It led you to where you are right now. Emotions are good. Don't bottle them up, or one day you might find you don't have them anymore. Or one day you might find that you're numb to everything.
Yeah.
People are going to get hurt. It happens. It's how you deal with it that explains everything.
Rant and sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Rant and Sovereign. Are you guys heading back up to the penthouse?
Hey, would it be okay if I just like spied in on some of that? Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
I'm going like
That's
I'm
fine with
going
me.
back up to my room and I just sort of walk by and hear like snuffling and stuff and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, she's just like standing like near the door out to the balcony, just like mouth open, like
Peering through the hedges.
While you're peering through the hedges and listening in the conversation, one of your social media alerts does go off, and you see a picture come across your feed. It's looks like it's a selfie with Circuit and Steven Weird, and it's made a new friend. Think we're going to be spending time together.
This what am I seeing with mine own eyes? What, he just thinks that he can ignore me just because I like ruined his fucking debut?
I'm assuming, yeah, Fawn and Aterrados, I'm assuming, start hearing this.
Yeah.
Like, do you hear that?
I do. Yes.
Oh gosh,
Should-
I guess we should check in on that.
You guys don't have to do anything. You can stay right where you are.
Oh,
She yells through the fucking hedges.
okay.
She.
I was just
Fun.
walking by. I was just walking by minding my own business. And I just got a weird notification.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. You guys
Okay.
can keep like kissing or whatever you're doing.
What?
We're not kissing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But I don't even care if you are or anything.
I don't. Yeah, no.
What happened? Why did you exclaim in such a manner? What's going on with your phone?
She barges in at this point.
Yeah.
She barges in and essentially gets right between you two. Like
Yeah.
elbows in the face. She doesn't care.
Like,
She's
ow.
getting right in and it's
Okay.
like, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's Steven.
Okay.
So look,
that's
these are all
Circuit. I haven't gotten a chance to meet her yet. She's really nice.
Circuit fucking sucks. Okay.
Why?
But we can go into it later when I'm regaling you of the backstory. You'll understand. Now, first, look at all these messages. He ignored all of these, and she like starts scrolling up, and it's just all one-sided.
Rant, what are you getting up to?
I actually think Rant is going for a nap. Like you said,
Yeah.
he's just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm gonna chill.
Back in Chicago. Any other questions? Anything else I can help you with or clear up?
Not a question, but a request. The eruption that occurred at the UN today, the young man was taken in by the Aeon Society directly, not Project Utopia. I'm sure there's a good reason for that, but I don't want to lose contact with that young person. We had a connection during their eruption, and it means a lot to me to still be able to reach out to them.
If I may add, one of the reasons we were able to de-escalate things with the Terrigen that were present was that we were insistent on allowing him to come into our custody, that no harm would come to him.
I mean, I don't expect harm. I just he went through a lot. If I even got a taste of it, I'm interested.
Give me an empathy roll, please.
Sure. Okay, and that is the 4 again.
Okay. She is maintaining her poker face, but you see, like, in the movements of her eyes, this subject is very uncomfortable for her, and she's trying to maintain composure. Of like, she's trying to reach your level of composure in response to what you're saying. That young person will be given the utmost care for their situation. They will be protected to the best of my ability. And I'm going to ask that you not question further on that particular matter.
So what happened is more secretive than what Nisha was asking? I won't ask any more questions. I just want to see them again.
It may
Can we
take
do
some
that?
time, but I can believe we can arrange that. Their safety requires a lot of work and training and the ability to keep them safe when they're not away from the public's eye.
And she's very clearly thinking about that and looks over at Levon and it's like, I thank you. Like I said, I won't dig, I won't harass, but I very much look forward to speaking to them further. Thank you for the opportunity.
I will do my best to make sure that that happens.
Okay. And she settles back and like clearly has a lot on her mind at that point.
Well, as I said, I don't have all the time in the world. So if there's anything else that I can do before we get you guys back to New York and back to your comfortable apartment, please let me know.
Anybody?
Thank you for your help.
Certainly. She she gets out a card and holds it out sort of for anyone to take. And she says, "This is my contact information. If you find you need something that you think normal channels might be too difficult, let me know. I'll see what I can do. We want the 4 of you and the other members of the other classes of Team Tomorrow to be able to trust Utopia and trust the Aeon Society, because you are the future that we're all striving for."
I'll take the card and make sure that Nisha and anybody else who wants to can like snap a picture of it.
Oh, yeah, she
Yeah,
definitely
I'll
does.
grab my own card.
Yeah, she'll hand them out to all of you. So
Okay.
Thank you.
you're most welcome. The plane is waiting for you. She just double checks. It's like, yes, things seem to be calmed down, and we believe he's left the city. Yes, so I wish you a pleasant journey back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mercer.
Take care. And she'll get ready to leave.
Yeah, the older gentleman is waiting for you at the door to the office and leads you back out. As you are leaving the brownstone, I would like everyone to make a empathy plus quantum roll.
Ooh, all
Eh,
right.
There is a 5 success complication on this one.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Holy crap.
Okay.
I
So-
suppose I
Okay,
could
who
just.
wants to use momentum? Who has the best
Yeah.
roll?
I think
mean,
that's gonna be Lily.
Yep. I was about to say, if we really want to juice this, let's do it.
Holy crap. I just got 2 10s. Hang on.
Nice.
Um. By the way,
Watch
Scott, I was about to say you're so lucky. I forgot this on my sheet. I've got specialty poker face.
Ah,
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, momentum, yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Do it.
Okay.
You've got the best shot.
All right. How many? We're sitting on 4.
All of
I
it.
think
Do
we're
all of
almost
it.
done.
Do it.
yeah, this is a session, so if you want to blow it,
All right. Sure. But it's not any of the attributes, Scott. It's just the empathy and the
it's
quantum.
empathy and quantum. Yes.
All right, can do. All right, that is 5. Let's see if I can get successes off the 10s. Come here, baby.
Cross fingers.
Yeah, and another exploder. Come here. Okay, we got 8 total.
Yeah.
All right, that is more than enough to hit the difficulty and buy
Yeah.
off the complication.
Eh.
Waterlily, when you step on the threshold, you get a powerful sensation, and for a moment, you see this building as it was a long time ago. It is looks like it's been through a hell of a scrap. The part of the walls have been blown out. There's debris. A couple. You can smell smoke somewhere, and you are standing just to the side of where you are currently are. And you see that man in dark sunglasses standing on the threshold as well, turning around, looking over his shoulder to another man who is dressed in sort of tattered outdoor clothing, face smeared with soot and a bit of blood. And the man says, "Damn it, Michael, Annabelle is dead, and it is both of our fault. If you leave, you do not come back." And in response, Donegal sighs, turns to face Max, and says, "The future could be ours, Max. But if you won't come with me, I'll just have to settle for it being mine." And he turns and walks out the Aeon Society headquarters for the last time. And you return to the present.
Like she blinks really hard. It's like
The rest of you felt a pulse of quantum energy, but none of you got any visual stimuli.
yeah, she ends up like leaning against Levon again, like similar to after the UN.
Actually, the old man
Mhm.
is at your other side. It's like, the ghosts are at it again, are they?
Ghosts?
Turn of phrase. Powerful memories sometimes. We should get you up in the air, ma'am.
Okay, I'll tell everybody in the plane. Okay.
Yeah,
Come on.
you are led to the landing pad where the VTOL is still there, refueled and ready to lift off.
Okay. I don't know what caused that, but apparently it happens around here. I saw the founders, Mercer, and like she lowers her voice a bit. They have small, like having a fight. They said someone named Annabelle was dead. And about wanting to have the future together, but and she'll explain like the vision and the detail Scott gave at that
Okay.
point.
Oh,
And the plane lifts off and starts heading back to the east. And that's where we'll end it this week. Tune in next time to see where things go from here on Aberrant Atomic Youth. Don't forget to follow the characters on Twitter to see more of the story, and follow Simulacra RPGs for updates on the show and the channel. If you'd like to support the show, you can subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels at Simulacra TV, but the best way is to go to patreon.com/Simulacra Studios and become a patron. A big thanks to our $5 and up patrons. You keep the story going, and we couldn't do it without you. Until next time, remember, your legacy is our future.